structures reconfigured to keep the working class in a state of constant distress. American productivity, as the New York Times pointed out, has increased 77% since 1973. But hourly pay has grown only 12%. If the federal minimum wage was attached to productivity, the newspaper noted, it would be more than $20 an hour, not $7.25. Some 41.7 million workers, a third of the American workforce, earn less than $12 an hour, and most of them do not have access to employer-sponsored health insurance. A decade after the 2008 financial meltdown, the Times wrote, the average middle-class family's net worth is more than $40,000 below what it was in 2007, and the net worth of black families is down 40%, and for Latino families, the figure has dropped to 46%. The financial crisis of 2008 saw the world's central banks, including the Federal Reserve, inject trillions of dollars of fabricated money into the global financial system. The Federal Reserve, which is supposed to regulate banks alone, handed over an estimated $29 trillion of fabricated money to American banks, according to researchers at the University of Missouri. $29 trillion. Kevin Zies and Margaret Flowers on the website Popular Resistance wrote, 1/6 of this could provide a $12,000 annual basic income, which would cost $3.8 trillion annually. Doubling Social Security payments to $22,000 annually, which would cost $662 billion. A $10,000 bonus for all U.S. public school teachers, which would cost $11 billion. Free college for all high school graduates, which would cost $318 billion, and universal preschool, which would cost $38 billion. National improved Medicare for all would actually save the nation trillions of dollars over a decade. Now, the Fed and other central banks cut interest rates to near zero. And indeed, some central banks in Europe instituted negative interest rates, meaning they would pay borrowers to take loans. The Fed, in a clever bit of accounting, even permitted distressed banks to use these no-interest loans to buy U.S. Treasury bonds. So the banks gave the bonds back to the Fed and received 0.25% interest from the Fed. In short, the banks were loaned money at virtually no interest by the Fed and then were paid interest by the Fed on the money they borrowed. The Fed also bought up worthless derivatives and other toxic assets from the banks. Since Fed authorities could fabricate as much money as they wanted, it did not matter if what they were buying was worthless. This fabricated money over the last decade has created a worldwide debt of $325 trillion, more than 3 times global GDP. The fabricated money was hoarded by banks and corporations, loaned by banks at predatory interest rates, used to service interest on unsustainable debt, or spent buying back stock, providing billions in compensation for the ruling elites. The fabricated money was not provided to the victims of financial fraud, but the victimizers. It was not invested in the real economy. Products were not manufactured and sold. Workers were not reinstated into the middle class with sustainable incomes, benefits, and pensions. Infrastructure projects were not undertaken. The fabricated money re-inflated massive financial bubbles built on debt and papered over a fatally diseased financial system destined again for collapse. The criminal irresponsibility of the elites was simply perpetrated on an even more massive scale. What will trigger the next crash? The $13.2 trillion in US household debt, the $1.5 trillion in student debt, the billions Wall Street has invested in a fracking industry that has spent $280 billion more than it generated from its operations? Who knows? What is certain is that a global financial crash, one that will dwarf the meltdown of 2008, is inevitable. But this time, with interest rates near zero, the elites have no plan B. The financial structure will disintegrate, and the global economy will go into a death spiral. The rage of a betrayed and impoverished population will, I fear, further empower right-wing demagogues who promise vengeance on the global elites, moral renewal, and a nativist revival, heralding a return to a mythical time when immigrants, women, and people of color knew their place, and most probably in the United States, a Christianized fascism.
World War III has never been closer than it is right now. We need to clean house of all of the warmongers and America last globalists and the deep state, the Pentagon, the State Department, and the national security industrial complex. One of the reasons I was the only president in generations who didn't start a war is that I was the only president who rejected the catastrophic advice of many of Washington's generals, bureaucrats, and the so-called diplomats who only know how to get us into conflict, but they don't know how to get us out. For decades, we've had the very same people, such as Victoria Nuland and many others just like her, obsessed with pushing Ukraine toward NATO, not to mention the State Department support for uprisings in Ukraine. These people have been seeking confrontation for a long time, much like the case in Iraq and other parts of the world, and now we're teetering on the brink of World War III. And a lot of people don't see it, but I see it, and I've been right about a lot of things. They all say Trump's been right about everything. None of this excuses in any way the outrageous and horrible invasion of Ukraine 1 year ago, which would have never happened if I was your president, not even a little chance. But it does mean that here in America, we need to get rid of the corrupt globalist establishment that has botched every major foreign policy decision for decades, and that includes President Biden, whose own people said he's never made a good decision when it comes to looking at other countries and looking at wars. We have to replace them with people who support American interests. Over our 4 years in the White House, we made incredible progress in putting the America Last contingent aside and bringing the world to peace. And now we're going to...
Thanks, Green. I want to ask about the economy.
Shocker.
Shocking, I know. So a new Fox News poll shows that only 36% of voters approve of the president's handling of the economy. 31% approve of the inflation, ways handling inflation. Are voters just not getting the right message, or is there something wrong with the president's policies?
So look, first of all, no, there's nothing wrong with the president's policy, but this goes into a little bit of the COVID origins question that I've gotten a couple times, and that clearly my colleague has gotten a couple times as well. We have just coming out, what the American people have had to deal with for the last almost 3 years now, if you think about it, COVID, right? COVID-19, once-in-a-generation pandemic, which really put the economy, as you know, into a tailspin. And the president, when he walked in, the last administration did not have a comprehensive plan on how to deal with COVID and how to make sure that we were getting people shots in arms. As simple as that. How do we get the economy back on its feet? And so that's what the president president did. He got the economy back on its feet. We're seeing more than 12 million jobs created. We're seeing a lot of improvement where we make sure that we do not leave people behind, and we're building the economy from the bottom up and middle out. Now, look, obviously, inflation is still too high. The president is doing everything that he can to lower costs for the American people, hence the Inflation Reduction Act. That's also going to lower costs on healthcare, lower cost on energy, and also reduce the deficit by $200 billion. So we are doing the work. The president is doing the work to get that done. But look, as I said, inflation is still is too high, and we're going to continue to focus on that. But we believe that the president's economic policy is working, and all you have
Free thinking, innovative, totally open-minded. This is Tommy Nation Politics, guys. And it's Tommy Nation Tuesday. Welcome. Hey guys, this is Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. How's everyone doing today? Tommy Nation Politics. So, it's Tommy Nation Tuesday, and I'm here with Jamar Jabbar, the Voice of Change podcast. And it appears to me, just an observer, we have societal systemic collapse with our institutions, and a lot of interesting deals going on around the world, as Jamar was telling me about. Getting Mr. Biden's panties in a tizzy. Jamar, you want to illustrate? Let us, the viewers, in review on the deals that are going on this week.
I mean, well, if anyone noticed, in the East, there is a deal that China has got made for Saudi Arabia and Iran. Now, I know that sounds very weird for people that know that these guys they're not really seeing eye to eye. We don't need to go into a breakdown in the whole history, but this is actually interesting, and I would want to read a little bit about it. China balancing strategy in the Middle East. For China, this is not a business as usual to ensure reliable access to the. Forgive me, guys. Reliable access to the what? I keep getting a commercial popping up. It's not working.
It's capitalism.
We should have
It
prepped
doesn't
it
want
for
you
the
to
show
know.
earlier.
Buy more shit.
Use that.
Quick, buy more shit real quick.
But
Don't worry,
honestly, to
Jamar.
make it short,
Shit.
so we could go to the big part, huh?
No, just buy more
honestly,
shit.
to
That'll
make
make
it
everything
short,
better.
to get to the big part, because I already spent enough time. This is a blooper. Hello. Anyway, I don't know what you're saying, Tommy. You got to speak up.
Oh, really?
But
Can you hear me? Can you hear me
now I can hear you.
I was just saying, they want you to buy more shit. That's why these videos, they pop up.
Yeah,
with
this
commercials.
paywall,
They
all
want you to
this
stop.
nonsense.
Yeah, stop what you're doing and just buy more shit. That'll help the economy, right?
Yeah, I
That'll
mean,
help
well,
your family.
listen, the economy is going to be in a tizzy, just like she said. And when you see BRICS nations, which is what I was trying to get to, Saudi Arabia is definitely going to join. I'm going to call it. It's going to happen, and that is going to be another hit on the dollar.
So explain what the BRICS nations are exactly to the viewers, because I'm still confused. BRICS nation.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
this a new kind of NATO-ish kind of organization?
No, they're not NATO at all. They're more like G7. Basically, they just
Okay, so but they're a group of nations, though.
they
that have
just
decided to-
dictate the economic block in eastern
in their country.
of the world. So you have Brazil, you have China, you have Russia, you have India, and then you have South Africa. So this is just showing me that China is trying to bring peace into the Middle East and use their actual influence that they have, and not really letting the Americans involved. Which why would you? Because the Americans just want war. This is why Israel is so powerful as they are right now, because they need somebody to do their bidding, basically, so to say, in their influence in the Middle East. That's why they get to bomb Syria 24/7, and no one says anything about that. You know, Israel is just one of those. And Saudi Arabia is also their puppet regime in a way, because you could think about how the monarchy started. They wouldn't have started without us. So this is definitely going to be an issue towards America. Well, the American government and whatever interest they have. I'm pretty sure they do not want this, and it's probably shocking them. So, but this is just showing just how the hegemonic hold that they have is weakening. Um, very, very simple. And
Well,
we're seeing
exactly.
how the capitalists are ready to bail each other out here, instead of actually ever saying that there's money to bail people out, working people out with debt, student debt, give them health care, something. They can't do that.
So I'm really gonna ask Michael Gardner, because the guys, Michael Gardner from the Savage Unfiltered podcast is going to be on. He wants to talk about the issues that are facing the American people, and as always, I like to give everyone a platform.
Oh
More
God.
speech is the answer, is always the answer. But it's more speech is always better than censorship, and I like debunking bad ideas in real time. Anyway, so we'll talk about that. But I'm very curious to see what a right wing perspective is on the fact that the student debt cancellation is caught up in the Supreme Court, where there's the powers, the separation of powers. Did you hear about that shit? Oh, separation of powers. Oh, this is all about. This is all just curtailing of our constitutional process, and yet the bailouts that they once again received, and Chris Hedges called it. Man, he literally did call it. He said it was going to be bigger and worse than before. This is just a symptom of what's really happening with the financial markets. I mean, the cryptocurrency, it went awry. This currency, it's not backed by anything, and the elites will push for a currency that we don't have. I believe that the end goal is to really put us all into the global concerns and not the concerns of America. On that, I think the right wing's right. But how can they look at the bailouts for the banks without that didn't have to go through the Supreme Court? That's not separation of powers. But student debt cancellation is.
Yeah, like the relationship between business and government is clearly showing you how problematic it is. And the crazy part about this is that, for instance, Silicon Valley, they did a lot of venture capital. Well, venture capital meaning that a lot of rich fucks decide to invest into some stupid shit, and their investment is at their own risk. And this is part of the reason why the banks collapsed. So basically, they're getting bailed out for a venture capital idea. This is like me buying stock,
Of course.
and then
I mean, that's what happened last
I don't make money off my stock. That's my problem. I don't get bailed out for making money on my stock. I just bought the wrong stock, but they get bailed out for venturing into risky ass fucking investments.
And it was risky ass investments to bet against the American people and their willingness to pay their rents, right? On the housing crisis.
It's all types of things.
They're literally always betting against the American
It's
people.
all stupid shit. Somebody in Silicon Valley probably have some dumb shit going on in the garage, and they went to the bank and they got a fucking loan without even fucking asking and begging. They just was like, "Oh, here you go."
Of course. I mean, you heard Donald Trump like earlier in his campaign. He just went to banks asking for loans. They gave him loans because he had assets, and so they could just take his assets for collateral. That's what banks do. They'll give you loans if you have assets, because then they can just liquidate your assets and sell them off and auction them off, which is what they did to the housing people with houses in 2000 was 2008.
Yeah.
That's what they did with the housing crisis. They literally took people that weren't paying because of the crisis going on with Wall Street. People couldn't pay their mortgages. So the banks, like Steve Mnuchin, decided to go ahead and foreclose on their houses because they couldn't pay. And so the banks and the housing market had a windfall of greed. And this is just a windfall of greed as it is. But as usual, Jamar, we have the cheerleader of the credit card companies. We have the guy who made it all possible for student debt to happen and to be saddled to you. We have him not only yelling praise about the banks and their safety and security, but in ABC News today, it says, amid crisis, Biden tells Americans, banking system is safe. This guy is the same guy, by the way, who told you to get vaccinated with a 60% efficacy vaccine. Everything this guy says is literally for pharma. It's for the banking system. It's for the credit card industry. This guy will just say anything that his bosses tell him to. Yes or no? What do you think about Judge?
I mean,
is this guy just not a puppet of the rich?
He literally keep telling the American people that they're winning the war in Ukraine, but we're spending so much money and they're running out of fucking weapons to give. But they're winning apparently. But after they lost 20% of their country, but that's a win. Losing 20% of your land is a big fucking win. All right.
Oh, so you and Iowa fat. I don't want to hear about it.
No, he lies a lot. He lies a lot, and it's fucking ridiculous.
The fact is, but the worst part is the media gets him unchallenged. They even write articles talking about his lies, and they put him in as headlines. If Trump lied on CNN, the 1,000 millionth lie. Oh, he injected himself with disinfectant.
Shit.
This guy's literally like, hey, put your money in the banks. He takes our tax dollars, bails out the banks without our permission, without a discussion, without a town hall.
Nope. If Trump did that, all the liberals will rave, but it was a blue guy that did it, so it's okay. Even though he wants to give you 10 grand just to pay your student loans, but like as if that was actually happening.
I don't know if it's constitutional,
but you could drop 200. Show the graph,
yes.
so these people can see exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. And shouts out to Breakthrough News, UG Pryor, everybody out there, Roddy Kallick. This is what they showed. $220 billion budget, $220 billion bailout from two different companies. We're talking about Silicon Valley Bank, and we're also talking about Signature Bank. Look at what we could have done with that money instead of bailing out rich fucks that are going to be fine regardless. Look, student loan forgiveness. This is cost per year. $24 billion per year. $24 billion per year. Repairing school infrastructure, $85 billion. Paid family leave, $20 billion. Child care and universal pre-K, $40 billion. Dental coverage for seniors, $24 billion. We have so much other things we could be paying for instead of giving the money to these rich fucks.
You know what's funny though, Jamar? Literally, on 2008, we had the first black president selling us a pile of shit. Oh yeah, this is gonna really put hair on your chest. This is gonna give flat-chested women titties. Oh yeah, this is gonna definitely fucking fix the Flint water. Oh yeah, we'll pass it right away. Stop dithering, Republicans.
Right.
So I'm looking at the New York Times today. New York Times says how disastrous were the bank bailouts. And Newsweek is saying this didn't need to happen. Even the liberal rags are literally they're not going with this one.
It's a risk. It's a venture capital. You signed up to risk your fucking money, you rich fucks. It's not my fault that y'all are running out of things to fucking invest in because you hold about 50% of the world's economy altogether. It's not my fault you're running out of things to invest in. I'm sorry. If you lose your fucking money, you lose your fucking money. I lose my money every fucking day. That's supposed to be a
free market, isn't it? Is that supposed to be the free market? Is that supposed to be the free market?
Right.
In effect, winners and losers. Yeah, so the government's picking winners and losers. And I don't hear anybody talking about socialism. It's so weird. Isn't that weird?
It's socialism for the rich?
It's literally what Martin Luther King said already. Socialism for the rich, rugged individualism for the poor. So speaking of the poor, I've tried to read New York Times' article. They won't let me read it unless I subscribe, and I will never subscribe to the New York Times. So I would literally die before I subscribe to the New York Times. But I really do agree with what they're saying now, and it didn't need to happen. It didn't need to happen in 2008. The only reason it did so easily was the first black president.
Right.
He slid it down our throats with some grease.
He talks about this in his autobiography.
He slid that shit in so good. Oh yeah, this is gonna definitely help single mothers and the teachers unions and all the people that voted for me.
He definitely mentioned this. He mentioned that he had a
sure he
choice
did.
to either bail out the homeowners or bail out Wall Street,
And
he chose Wall Street.
Yeah,
He mentions this in his book. He had the choice.
So the choice was made already, and not by him, because he was a great middle manager. Remember what they said about him? No, but it's true.
He was a great middle
He
manager.
did the best he could for the company. He was a company man. He was a company man all the way, Barack Obama. And remember when he left, he told us that we're the change. Turns out, we're the change. He wasn't. We are. So fuck that. Fuck. What the fuck? All along, it was us. I thought he was change. We could believe it. Turns out, we're the change. Thanks, Barack. That guy needs to go to hell. And so Joe Biden is following in his footsteps. And even the Republicans are a little bit fucking shaky about this shit. Like, check out this guy, Chip Roy. He's one of my Texas guys. So the Democrats like to do this thing while they're in office. They just try to like slip it right under the cracks. Everything that they want to do. They get like people like who was the rhino that was in the insurrection when she was in? Who was that bitch? Her dad shot a man in the face and started Iraq War. Dick Cheney.
Dick Cheney,
yeah. The Cheney woman. She literally was just like, yeah, thank you so much. She votes for it. But they slip it in the dead of night. The Democrats slipped in an omnibus spending bill. You see Chip Roy. Chip Roy can't take this shit anymore. He's going to talk about this. But this is the one of my guys, and I like this guy. I don't know how he feels about everything, but I like what he's saying. So check this out.
For more on this, I yield 5 minutes to my good friend from the great state of Texas, Chip Roy.
The gentleman from Texas is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank the Speaker. I thank the gentleman from Pennsylvania. And I can't help but be amused that the gentleman from Massachusetts says that we refuse to come to the table. As if the gentlelady who will soon be the chairwoman of Appropriations, Ms. Granger, my colleague from Texas, doesn't want to sit at the table with colleagues on either side of the aisle to come to consensus about how to spend taxpayer dollars, or better stated, how to borrow money we don't have. As if that's actually true. What table is the gentleman referring to? What table does he want us to come sit down and negotiate? It's not this table. I don't have the power to offer an amendment on the floor of the House of Representatives, despite being elected by 750,000 Texans. I don't have the ability or the right to be able to stand up for them and have a debate on the floor of this chamber. Everything the American people is watching right now is a complete sham. It's a fraud being perpetrated on the American people right before their eyes, right as we head into Christmas, sitting here on the 23rd of December, when 6 years ago, those boys crossed the Delaware. We were dealing with Valley Forge, or the boys in 1944 sitting in foxholes in Bastogne over Christmas. And we had 18 Republicans who joined with Democrats in the Senate, get on their fancy planes and go home, and we're sitting here trying to do the work of the people. Not spend money we don't have, not drive up more inflation, not have 7,500 earmarks for $16 billion for pet leftist projects across this country. What you see here on the floor of the House of Representatives should make everybody ashamed. The People's House. Not one amendment has been offered on the floor of this body since May of 2016 in open debate. The gentleman from Massachusetts dares to impugn the character of the Appropriations Chairwoman Kay Granger and those Republicans he says won't sit at the table, when in fact what you see here is a 4,100-page bill cooked up by a handful of people behind closed doors, brought before the Rules Committee with no ability to offer an amendment, no ability to debate, no actual discussion on the People's House floor. And my colleagues on the other side of the aisle know it. And we're spending money we don't have. Go home and sell your projects. Go home and talk about all the pork you're bringing home. But you're destroying the United States of America. Absolutely destroying this body. The American people did not send us here to do that. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle know that. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle know full well that this body is broken, but do not care.
So, two things I'll have to touch off right off the bat. First of all, pet leftist projects. Chip Roy, great speech that he made. Everything he said was true about these projects being done in with a handful of people, pushed through without a vote. And that is not what we signed. We elected you guys to do. Chip Roy's right about that. The fact that they're pet leftist projects, there's nothing leftist about these projects. It's globalist, and it's all for the corporate oligarchy. And I would like the conservatives that I like to stop talking about the leftist projects because that's a divisive thing. We don't want any corporate bullshit bailouts. We never wanted them. We were at Occupy Wall Street. We're getting our heads bashed in when 2008 happened. We never wanted them, and so it's not less. It's the corporate projects. But guys, joining me is Michael Gardner, the famous from Savage Unfiltered. We've been feuding, so I thought I'd give him a platform and call him a bootlicker to his face because that's what I do, guys. I'm a hero. Michael, can you hear me?
Yeah. How you doing? Hat tip off to you, Tommy. What's going on, buddy?
Bro, I was just like, I was very happy that you decided to come on in it because I really wanted your opinions on some things.
Yeah.
And mostly, like, I like to confront people face to face, and it's good television anyway. Great ratings, tremendous.
Well,
so
well, speaking of television, I just got off of an audition for a commercial, so hopefully that went well. I'm hoping once But
what was it? What was the commercial for?
Audi A7.
Audi, what's that?
Audi? You don't know the Audi car?
Oh, it's a car.
Yeah,
it's a car. Cool.
the Audi.
So are you driving it or what?
No, I had to do an audition to basically see if they liked my work, and apparently it went well. So let's just hope I get the gig. You know what I mean?
Well, Joe Biden would have recommended that you probably sexually assault it or something.
Oh, God.
Or smell its hair. Did you smell the Audi's hair, Michael? That's how you get the job, bro.
Yeah. I got to smell.
Smelling the hair.
I got to smell the talent, right, Tommy?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
The only thing I can smell right now, and good luck on your commercial, but the only thing I can smell right now is late stage capitalism. I have a whole bunch of greedy tyrants in office that Chip Roy is right about. They haven't done the will of the American people for longer than 2016. And how much longer is this charade going to last where the leadership just cooks up bills and pushes them through at the middle of the night?
I have no idea. I really don't. I think Joe is more worried about making sure the banks there in Silicon Valley are protected than going over to East Palestine, which I thought was a complete disaster, a disgrace in my opinion. But
he's a dementia-riddled geriatric guy. He would have died if he smelled any of that air.
Yeah,
he would have died immediately.
Yeah,
he's a weak guy.
Joe should have went over to East Palestine. Joe Biden should have went over there. I mean, it had to take our former president Trump to go over to East Palestine to take money out of his own pocket to make sure the people were okay, while Joe was licking ice cream cones in the Oval Office.
So there's another issue that I have, and this is one you can help me with. This guy, your Trump guy, he's such an opportunist. He never ever misses a chance to be a little opportunist guy. He's the guy who could get your commercial, bro.
Dude, he got there faster than Pete, man.
That motherfucker Trump would have literally pushed you out of the camera frame to get that commercial.
Well, I don't think he went over there for opportunists. I truly think he's for the people. I think 4 years wasn't enough to actually prove his worthiness to the people. I don't think people see it yet, Tommy.
So could you give me some examples of how that's true then, if I could? Give me some examples. How Trump was for the people.
Well, let's look, for example, he made the trip to East Palestine. He's made a trip down to the border several times.
And that did what? What did that do? What did that do?
Well, he protected the people. I mean, he showed his worthiness, his loyalty to the people.
By showing up?
Joe Biden. But Tommy, you can't say Joe Biden hasn't done that. Joe Biden has not done anything.
Joe Biden is honest. Joe Biden's honest. He doesn't give a shit about us. He's honest. Trump is. I need more than he showed up and did a speech about how he's going to win the next election because it was a fake news election. I need more. I need more tangible things. I need health care, a minimum wage increase. I need a legalization of marijuana. I need a Green New Deal. I need a student debt cancellation. I need people to have better quality of living,
Yeah,
higher life expectancy.
I think he was trying to accomplish all that, but I don't think 4 years was enough. I think that's why he should have won re-election a few years back, because you mentioned healthcare, you mentioned all this stuff. 4 years is not enough to do all that. That's why he should have won re-election. And I think by now
What did he do?
he would
What
have
did
had
he
it
do?
all done.
But what did he do in 4 years?
He,
Besides throw away Obama's strategy for Ebola
he,
and
he
put
couldn't
it on
he
the
couldn't get anything done in 4 years because of the establishment attacking him left and right. And
And so how would that change in the next 4 years?
that's on both sides, Tommy. That's on the right and the left. The right and the left were constantly attacking him, and they still are.
I mean, it's just really easy to, because he's okay. So, okay, we have a different perspective on that. Maybe this is a revolving conversation.
Yeah.
Jamar, do you have anything to add to this?
I mean, well, a lot when you look at Biden's policies, especially on the border, he has kept the same type of policies that
Title
Trump has
42.
have.
Title 42, yes.
He has some similarities, and I think Donald Trump was he was popular because of what happened in the Obama administration that was very lack of, and it gave an establishment agenda. So the outrage, which people should have rightfully be outraged, they had the right to be outraged, and that's why Trump was elected. It was either going to be him or Bernie Sanders, but the Democrats weren't going to let that happen. Let Bernie Sanders, beat Hillary.
That would be worse. That would be worse than Trump, because Trump was, to me, a buffoon that couldn't get anything done because he didn't know anything about government. He knew how to pay people off. He knew how to grease the wheels. He knew how to bribe people, and he knew how to cheat on his wife with a stripper and pay her a check. But he doesn't know how to legislate. He doesn't know how to whip the vote. He doesn't know how to organize the leadership around a certain goal, because his goal was to win. His goal wasn't to achieve any policies. His goal was to win.
I felt that he.
I want to win.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
We're gonna get tired of winning. He used to always say, "We're gonna get tired of winning."
Yeah.
But after you win, then what? No, it's just winning to him. That's how I feel.
I mean, when he said in his speech he didn't start a war, that's true. But he also continued. He continued on these wars. He let the CIA just go gung ho, killing whoever they want to kill.
Now, to be fair,
because Obama administration, they kept checks on it, and it was like you have to prove what your target is.
Bad.
But in Trump's administration, he said hit whoever the hell you want to hit, and more bodies were dropped.
Trump tried to get people out, and they were like the Kurds. Then John Brennan, Obama's CIA director, was all over Rachel Maddow talking about how there's a PP tape and shit. When he tried to get people.
I mean, I'm just saying. Even though he didn't start a war, he was still pro-war, and he killed a general in Iran, and that could have started a big problem, like killing that general. So I don't think he could talk on that, and I just think that Trump was just a symptom of late-stage capitalism, and a lot of people thought he was like for the working man. And look, you got to look at how he bailed out the rich with taxation and stuff.
The Soleimani thing, bro.
The taxes paid less. The rich paid less taxes under his administration as well too. He made sure of that. He did a lot of things that was like establishment.
So let's all listen to this, and let's just respond to his attack ad against the endless, meaningless spending of greed.
World War III has never been closer than it is right now. We need to clean house of all of the warmongers and America last globalists in the deep state, the Pentagon, the State Department, and the national security industrial complex. One of the reasons I was the only president in generations who didn't start a war is that I was the only president who rejected the catastrophic advice of many of Washington's generals, bureaucrats, and the so-called diplomats who only know how to get us into conflict, but they don't know how to get us out. For decades, we've had the very same people, such as Victoria Nuland and many others just like her, obsessed with pushing Ukraine toward NATO, not to mention the State Department support for uprisings in Ukraine. These people have been seeking confrontation for a long time, much like the case in Iraq and other parts of the world, and now We're teetering on the brink of World War III. And a lot of people don't see it, but I see it, and I've been right about a lot of things. They all say Trump's been right about everything. None of this excuses in any way the outrageous and horrible invasion of Ukraine 1 year ago, which would have never happened if I was your president, not even a little chance. But it does mean that here in America, we need to get rid of the corrupt globalist establishment that has botched every major foreign policy decision for decades. And that.
So I'll give Trump a lot on this.
Absolutely.
Some of it's weird, but I mean, the globalist, here he goes again with the name calling. The name calling people, right? The globalist, leftist, low ratings dog, Rosie O'Donnell's out there that are low ratings.
Tommy, he made a lot of clear points on that. Warmongers. I want to recap of some of that, if you don't mind. I just had a gentleman on my show about a week and a half, almost going into 2 weeks now, that joined my show from the country of Ukraine. Okay, and I found it quite fascinating. This gentleman by the name of Alex Grover that joined Savage Unfiltered about a week and a half ago from the country of Lviv, Ukraine, if I'm pronouncing the beginning of the first name there correctly. But it was fascinating because he said he voted for Trump twice, and now he's a Joe guy, right? He's a Biden guy. And I'm like, well, why are you a Biden guy? He says, well, Biden is funding our country, and he's doing so many great wonders for this country and this and that. I'm like,
yeah. So what's interesting
yeah.
about it?
Well, it's interesting because for people to like Joe Biden, that's why they like Joe Biden, because of the funding. The funding's coming in. Is that why they're truly backing him? Because there's a lot of people right now, Tommy, in Ukraine that are actually backing Biden because of the funding.
Right. There's people here in this country that are because of the funding. They don't understand this money.
Yeah, like when you spend like $60 billion just to keep the police department going and the healthcare going.
Oh no, Jamar,
it's
not trillions. It's not trillions. We've heard from our good friend Mr. Grover. Yeah. He said it's not in the trillions. We've sent only billions to Ukraine.
Yeah, billions.
That's what he said.
We have billions. He said billions.
I don't believe that. I believe it's 5.7 trillion.
I mean, it could be more, but they're literally funding their police departments. They're funding their fire departments. They're funding their healthcare system. They're giving them free healthcare, and they can't even do it here, but they can do that for Ukraine. And
they don't have a lot of people.
But what I'm saying is that these are type of the things that we do for nations that we want to continue with their agenda with war. I had some people on from Peru that explained the same thing about how the CIA in the U.S. is funding and paying the dictator police force and keeping up their healthcare, stuff like that. This is what we do to keep the regimes going.
Why can't Europe take care of the bill? Why can't Canada take care of the bill? This guy on my show,
at all.
Yeah, this guy on my show last week said that Europe can't take care of it because it has to be done by America and America only. Oh, so you got to rip off the taxpayer? You have to rip off the American taxpayer?
First of all, they don't give a shit about us.
Their economy is failing over there too. And
second of all, we're resources. You ever seen The Matrix where they latch onto you because you're batteries?
Yeah, it's a leech.
Do to us. Yeah,
that's what they are. They're leeches.
That's what they do to us. It's just what they do. Literally, I mean, we've all seen that. So how are we still choosing sides? How are we still choosing a Trump and a Biden if we all see that they're leeches? I don't get it.
Because it's all about
funding
to them.
Yeah, we're funding two warmongers right now. We're funding, in a way, we're still funding Russia, but we're also funding Ukraine. Zelensky was here like months ago begging the American taxpayer, please give us your money. Please.
He said your money is not charity. Okay. He learned that speech the first day he got off the boat. Okay. So give him some credit. That was the only English he knows. He probably forgot it. By now.
Here's the thing.
It's not charity. It took him a week, bro.
I'm not against Ukraine, okay? That was a sovereign nation. Okay, Russia evaded a sovereign free nation.
That's crazy.
They weren't
We do that all
free
the
though.
time.
They
We
were in the
literally do it all
Civil
the time.
War for 8 years though.
So
They were
this is what it
killing
comes down to,
they was
guys.
killing off like part of their people, the Kiev regime. Like they were busy.
Okay, so my response to they invaded a sovereign nation, like we invaded Iraq and Libya and Afghanistan and Somalia. What's new? Because Putin? Is that why? Because we don't like Putin, right? We can see Russia from his house.
They're both dictators, Tommy.
Why do y'all hate? What's up with that?
Wait, Michael, hold on. As much as I don't like Zelensky, I can't call him a dictator yet because he was actually democratically elected. The guy he beat was a dictator. He beat a Nazi. That dude, Petroshenko, I think is his name.
Mm-hmm, yes.
He was a fucking Nazi.
And so he decided, now that I beat a Nazi, I'll join the Nazis.
Basically,
that way we can have.
Don't say that. Don't
unity.
say that. You're going to make the liberals mad, Tommy. Don't say that.
I mean, if the liberals don't know by now that he literally took rubber bullets and shot his opponents afterwards, he literally arrested his rivals, and then he closed down churches in Ukraine.
Yeah. When we stop funding,
he's a fascist.
But when we stop funding Ukraine, that's when this whole war ends. You both realize that, right?
Yeah, they're losing.
We stop funding Ukraine, and that's when the part where our money has to come into play. There's still going to be ops. There's still going to be bases.
Macron.
There's going to be puppet leaders. There's going to be toys. There's going to be propaganda. We're going to remember. Don't forget, Zelensky's the new Churchill.
Yeah.
Remember what CNN said.
No,
this is never going to end. That's
the
thing, Michael. This is never going to end.
He's nothing like Churchill.
Just like Afghanistan will never end.
I have my problems with Churchill, but I would never disagree that man.
The media setting up
like
a
that.
never-ending scene.
So
Their job is now to set it up.
Tommy, here's my question. I asked Mr. Grover on my show a week and a half ago. I said, what if either Donald Trump or Ron DeSantis becomes president in less than 2 years from now? What happens when they stop funding? You know what Alex Grover said to me? Oh, no. Ron DeSantis is nothing like Donald Trump. Ron DeSantis will continue the funding. Well, shit, he will.
Yeah, he probably will. He's a sleazy.
No, he won't. No, I don't think he will.
That's interesting.
So you really do think these?
I mean, if the Pentagon says keep it going, though,
you really do think that these people are who they say they are? It's amazing.
I doubt it.
If the Pentagon says keep it going, though, you can't really tell the Pentagon no.
This is literally a
because this is my thing.
He's going to be a good middle manager, just like Obama.
This is my thing, Michael.
I have DeSantis. He's already cucking up to Trump. Remember, he didn't defend himself against Trump's groomer call.
No, he
didn't.
He just said, I don't attack Republicans, and I have a platform.
Wait, before we get to that.
He's going to be the cuckiest cuck that ever cucked the cuck world.
Hold on.
He's going to bootlick every single leader in the Republican Congress. Mitch McConnell's boots are going to be in his ass all fucking day.
Wait.
I promise you.
But Tommy, I think no matter what president get involved, it's going to continue because we invest in longevity in wars. We was in Afghanistan for 20 years, and we was in Iraq for how long? We're still in Yemen.
I agree with you.
We're still in Syria, occupying East Syria's grain and oil. We deal in longevity. That's our policy with war because the contractors make the most money off the buck. Why do you think they were so mad about Biden pulling out of Afghanistan? That wasn't just because it looked sloppy. That was also the rage from the people that make the money off of Afghanistan keep going on. Like that's what they do. Look how long Vietnam was. Why was Vietnam so long? It wasn't because they thought they were going to win. No, they were getting their asses whipped. And the Communist Party of Vietnam still runs Vietnam. So did they actually beat the communists in Vietnam? No, they're still there.
Jamar's like spitting out facts while that was great. That was masterful, bro.
You guys got to bear with me. I haven't done a show in about a week. I'm visiting family here in Northwest Georgia, so I need.
It's gonna get. Jamar's gonna leave soon, and then it's gonna get fun now.
In 5 minutes.
But yeah. So I do have. So I have so many questions for you. So you really do think DeSantis is not a bootlicking cuck? Because he literally bowed. So how do you feel about the fact that Trump called him a groomer? Trump called him a groomer, and he didn't say he wasn't a groomer.
He's just.
How do you feel
He's
about
just.
that?
I think Trump is. I think Trump is more of an entertainment guy. I think he's just setting it up for publicity, to get the liberal cameras, out there and say,
You think
"Oh,
he's an opportunist," just like I said before.
I don't think he's an opportunist. I think he's doing it more for publicity, to get media all stirred up, because he's good like that.
That's an opportunist, isn't it?
I don't.
Is that not an opportunist?
Well, I don't think he hates Ron DeSantis. They have a really, really great relationship.
Of course not. He wants to win.
Yeah. So
wants to win.
It's all for entertainment. Opportunist? No. I mean, I think it's all for entertainment, for publicity.
So you think that was a strong word? What is it with you and these? I don't get it. So that's the question that I'm really trying to get you to answer. Is what is it with you and your loyalty to these cretins? What's up with that?
It's not loyalty.
I need you to explain this to me.
It's just character. I see character behind these people. That's why I support them.
Okay. How? Give me an example of the character.
Well, they don't.
Please.
They don't do asinine stuff like some people on the left.
Like what?
A funny guy.
Give me a specific. See, this is what you do, Michael. That frustrates me, and then I call you a bootlicker. I mean, you don't give me a specific. Example.
I mean, if let's talk for example, with the balloons, right? Like if Trump was in office or any Republican was in office, half common sense intellect of a gentleman or a woman, right? If you had balloons that were going all over, the skies in North America, you wouldn't wait a week, 2 weeks before shooting them down. You would question people in the Secretary of Defense. Hey, what should we do with this? You wouldn't be like, I mean, it's just.
Is that what Trump did? He questioned people. Did he question Mike Pompeo? Did he question John Bolton? Did he question Steve Mnuchin?
He took
a known criminal who literally robbed the American people of their houses from California.
Well,
and fucking foreclosed on their houses.
He took a lot of great advice.
Horrible liars and war criminals.
He took a lot of great advice. I know.
Betsy DeVos, who's never had an education job in her life. Did he question her?
Well, he handled the border very, very well.
You really think that Trump picked his cabinet? You think that he picked his cabinet?
Of course.
War criminals and liars. You really think that?
Of course, he picked his own cabinet.
Oh wow!
They all do.
That's funny, bro. No, they don't. That's hilarious.
All right, Tommy, who picks the cabinet then?
Their bosses, bro.
Who's the
people
boss?
They work for? Jamie Dimon, Jeff Bezos,
Mark
Zuckerberg, Rothschild, Rockefeller. We have yes. You don't know about the people who own the banks, who fund the wars. So you got a lot of research to do, Michael. These people, Joe Biden said, "I don't work for you, buddy." He doesn't. He works for Jamie Dimon, the guy of Goldman Sachs, the guy who gives him the money.
Biden is just such a weirdo.
If Jamie Dimon didn't own Joe Biden, he wouldn't be president, bro, because he wouldn't have the funds to fucking defeat Bernie Sanders. He would be a dollarless loser.
They had to send Bloomberg just to talk shit about socialism.
Tommy,
you don't understand that, bro?
Tommy,
you don't understand that Jamie Dimon owns Joe Biden?
Tommy, what was the percentage?
Sheldon Adelson owned Donald Trump.
Hold on.
Sheldon Adelson picked out the justices, Brett Kavanaugh.
All right.
He picked out Brett Kavanaugh, and he picked out that woman. Sheldon Adelson did it. She admitted it. He admitted that he did. And Trump likes him so much because he was like, "Oh yeah, he actually did good."
How
he had casinos. You know Sheldon Adelson. Do you know Sheldon Adelson?
Yeah.
Do you know who he is?
Yeah.
He's a casino mogul who made billions. See,
Tommy,
Donald Trump, he got bankrupt. He bankrupted out of casinos.
Tommy,
Donald Trump lost at casinos.
Right.
So he looked at Sheldon Adelson as a role model because he was a successful businessman.
Hey, Tommy.
And Sheldon Adelson picked his cabinet.
Tommy, what do you think the percentage was of the last election? How much do you think they cheated by? What was the percentage around?
Do you understand now that Trump did not pick his cabinet?
All right. We're beyond that. I'd like to see your input.
No, I would like. Okay, I will answer your question as soon as you verify my question. Do you understand now that Trump did not pick his cabinet?
Yes.
Sheldon Adelson picked his cabinet.
He did. Okay. He did pick his
cabinet. What was your question? That's all I want. I just want some acknowledgement, bro.
He did pick his cabinet.
You think Trump still did?
Yeah.
Still think Trump did?
Oh, sure.
Okay, so there's no evidence to support this. We all know that Trump is beta male who literally
Well, what
loves
you're
the people that he loves and he hates the people that he hates.
all right? You're not
Cheats on his
answering the
wife,
one question.
to strippers.
What was the?
Because you won't give me an example of why you think the things you do, bro. It's frustrating me.
I just
I
said
can't think of any question to answer. I can't answer a question, bro. I'm too flustered. I'm trying to figure out why you think the things you think. I'm still on my question.
He picked his cabinet members through sources of other political activists and political politicians that were in the own party, the GOP party. He had suggestions on who to pick.
I mean, even if that's true, he said he was going to pick the best people.
We know he
You
picked
think John Bolton and Mike Pompeo was the best people? You think Steve Mnuchin was the best people?
We
You
know.
think Betsy DeVos was the best people?
Oh no, they weren't good people.
You think they weren't?
We know they weren't.
So he
good
was
people.
wrong.
No, he was
right.
I think his worst pick out of all of them was Mike Pence. I believe that was a really, really bad choice.
And you will think that because of loyalty. Okay, so this is all about loyalty.
It's about personal decision.
Loyalty.
Pence wasn't strong
so why?
enough.
Now you're going to tell me why that's what the reason.
No, Pence wasn't strong enough.
I'm really interested. He's not strong enough.
Yeah.
It's just strong.
Yeah.
Strength.
There was no
the strength.
strength.
Exudes from what?
Yeah, there was
the
no
strength.
strength.
Exudes from where?
We've seen it.
Where's the strength come from? Where's the strength? Tell me why he's not strong.
The wording, the characterization of behind him. He was not a strong leader as a vice
He didn't have the
president.
jacket or the tie?
No, it has nothing to do with that.
He didn't have the slogan?
No, you're missing the point. He wasn't strong.
No, I'm trying to figure this out.
His wording.
Because they're all the same to me. So I'm trying to figure this out.
It was his wording.
No, I am, Michael. I'm not trying to make fun of you.
Yeah.
It's just weird to me because I don't see these are all physical things.
Well,
they're superficial.
We live by different opinions. It's okay.
Yeah. But do you want any policies? Do you want anything from your government at all? What do you want? What do you want the government to do?
I want them to do what the hell they were elected to do to begin with.
So what were they elected to do? Be strong?
No. Support the United States for and by the people.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
I can care less what the hell they do on the outside.
That's the thing I'm trying to get, though, is how do you think they're doing that? How do you think they're doing that? Oh, yeah, I answered your question now. I'm sorry. Thank you for answering my questions. I'm sorry I flustered you. I really am trying to figure out your perspective. So what was your question?
My question was, in the last election, what do you think the percentage was because they did cheat. What was the percentage about? 45, 50, 60?
I don't honestly, Michael. I don't think that he cheated. I think that Trump was. See, it's all about perspective. Again, just like us. If the media painted him as a person who wants to inject himself with disinfectant, he rapes women, he grabs them by the pussy, he's a nasty guy. He doesn't pay his taxes, even though nobody does. Yeah. They painted him for that brush for 4 years, and so the people that don't know about anything, they just looked at the TV and the Trevor Noah at the Daily Show. They looked at Anderson Cooper and they looked at Jimmy Kimmel. They looked at Steve Carell, or what's his name?
We're getting a couple more. Greg Gutfeld. Yeah.
I mean, good job on Greg. Good job. I don't know how.
All right. Here's something for your audience.
I don't think he cheated. Bro.
Here's something.
I think everybody thinks that Trump's a horrible guy.
Yeah. Here's something for your audience. Since we're on late night talk show, what do you think? Do you think with the whole Tucker thing on January 6th, do you think Tucker is good by revealing the videos on January 6th?
Yes, of course. That's what the journalism is supposed to do.
Because they're trying to shut him down. What was it?
This we agree. I think we agree in the same way.
Yeah, Chuck Schumer tried shutting him down last week and this and that.
That was a bad move. That was a bad move on his part. He showed how afraid he was.
Well,
they were going to start to realize that these people have been they've been trafficking in the business of dividing us.
It showed weakness. Yeah,
that's what this is all about. And so how did Kevin McCarthy get these tapes though? Mm-hmm. And he sent them right to Tucker. How do you think he got the tapes? How do you think he got them?
I know where he got them from, but I don't want to say it on.
How?
I don't want to say it on.
Why?
On this.
Please tell me. I want to know. Where did Kevin McCarthy get these tapes, bro? Because they're real. They're real. Because Schumer was freaking out. Please, Fox News, stop this man. He was literally. They're real. I knew they were real the moment Schumer was like freaking out. Yeah. Schumer literally had a meltdown, bro.
Yeah.
So these are obviously real. And obviously he doesn't want to see us.
They took them from hidden archives.
Hidden archives?
Yeah.
So, do the Congress people know about this shit, or just the I guess the committee, the Intelligence Committee does? That's interesting. I'm gonna have to get to fucking figure that out. Kevin McCarthy's doing some interesting shit.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna nail the deep state, but he's doing some fun shit. Taking air Schiff off of some committees, making him cry. That's funny too.
I don't know.
So what do you think about this collapse of our empire? Like, do you think it's gonna? Do you think that's where we're headed? Do you think we're headed as Rome? Do you think we're gonna split off into two different nations, or what? What do you think is gonna happen?
I think we're at the breaking point right now, between the crossroads, so to speak, in life, where we still have a chance to save it, but I don't know. I think we're at I think we're at a breaking point right now. We're at the crossroads right now, where we have to
I
watch.
agree.
We have to watch with our decisions and everything else. If we make a bad decision, well, you're gonna get the end result. You know what I mean?
I agree. That's why we should not vote for Democrats or Republicans anymore.
Yeah.
Michael, thanks for being on the show. I feel a great weight lifted off of me because
I had to
talk about
Tommy. I had to do something because I took a week off because I'm visiting family here.
You missed me, bro. You missed me in my my groomer ass. Okay?
Oh God, don't say that.
I groomed, bro. I took a shower and I fucking brushed my hair. That's grooming.
Lovely.
Okay, your words make no sense and they're not definitive. So, guys, this was Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. That was Michael Gardner from the Savage Unfiltered podcast. You can catch his podcast where, Michael?
You can catch me all over the place, guys. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple. I'm just all over the place. You could also check me out in my Linktree, which is Linktree/Savage Unfiltered Podcast. I'm all over the place. I'm on TikTok now, Savage Unfiltered. Instagram, Facebook, same handle. All over the place, guys. Just search Savage Unfiltered Podcast and we'll pop up with all amazing, great content and links.
Well, guys, my weed man just said he was 5 minutes away, so it's just your turn to be free-thinking, innovative, and open-minded. I'm going to go get high, and y'all have a great Tuesday. Have a great